out. What up, my good people in the YouTube world and beyond? You already know who it is, and you already know what it is. It's your boy B, and I'm right back up at you cats with another video. Welcome to the Outlier Podcast. And you did not find this podcast by accident. If you are listening to me at this time in the morning on this day, you are not here by accident, my people. You are a fellow outlier. Yes, sir. You are a fellow outlier. And these messages didn't catch you by surprise. You are here because you are just like me. We are all products of the system, but we are still statistical outliers. And if you've ever felt like people don't understand who you are, if you ever been kept outside of the main group, people closed doors on you, people don't understand your opinion on things, you are in the right place. Because I am the outlier, and I will always listen to what you guys say, give your opinion a listen, and we can speak about these ideas. So give yourself a round of applause, and I'll give myself a round of applause because we want to start a community of outliers, of people who just feel like sometimes, you're different. You're different. And sometimes the world treats you different. So again, welcome to another podcast with your boy, the Outlier B. Because we all are outliers, my people, especially if you're hearing these episodes. So what's up, man? How was y'all night? How was your nights? My night was straight. My night was straight. In this episode, I'm not going to be reading a lot of the comments like I normally do because sometimes I think about these episodes and I have important things that I feel is important that I want to get off. But, I get caught up reading the comments, which I love the comments. I love all my commenters. But at the same time, I do have to get off some of the stuff that I want to get off. And we got a great episode lined up for you guys. A great episode lined up for you. I went to the Long Island Nets game a couple days ago. We're going to speak about that. And that's going to lead into a broader issue in which we have. And that issue is speaking about systems thinking. We're going to talk about theory versus practical knowledge. This is an age-old conversation that we always have. And we're also going to speak about that fragrance, Grey Vetiver by Tom Ford, because that is the fragrance of the week, my people, the fragrance of the week. And if you're stepping in, we got 5 people on the check-in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if this is something that you're into. And like I explained earlier, this is a podcast for outliers. And who are outliers? Outliers are the people who check in, If you're up at 4:30 in the morning, you are already an outlier, my people. If you're up at 4:30 in the morning, you are an outlier. Yes, sir. Somebody said, what drugs are you copping tonight, bro? Somebody said, I dare you to scream. Somebody said, hi. Somebody said, hi. What up? Somebody said, what drugs am I copping tonight? No drugs. No drugs. I'm completely drug-free. I've been drug-free. I consider alcohol a drug, too. You feel me? I haven't drank all week. And weed, I used to smoke weed, but I haven't smoked in a few months, my people. Somebody said, they are coming. Who they coming? Somebody said, we looking for crack. Somebody said, the world is an angry place. Be careful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for checking in. So somebody said they behind me. My boy Jeffrey. What up, Jeff? Every time somebody say that, I got to look behind me because the day I don't look behind me will be the day that somebody steps up behind me and clubs me, Yes, sir. So what's up, my people? How y'all feeling, man? How was y'all night? I'm on my way to work, my people. On my way to work. This is Long Island, New York, Freeport to be exact. I'm over here walking to the train station to get my day started, my people. Somebody said, I love life and God loves you. Jeffrey, Jeff. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. You know, somebody said, yo, pulling up to the kickback. We abducted a bunch of people. Sacrifice session party come through. Somebody say have a good night. Man, I love y'all guys, man. You guys are hilarious. They talk about sacrifice parties. They talk about abduction. You know, I used to work with a guy who he passed away recently, about a couple years ago. But he was all on YouTube, and he said he got abducted by aliens, man. He said he was abducted by aliens. He was a cool cat. His name was Joseph. Y'all could probably check him online. He really believed that he was abducted by aliens, yo. He said he went into the mountains up here. I think it was either in Pennsylvania or maybe upstate New York. And he said it was a bunch of his friends. And he said they got abducted and the aliens had sex with him, man. He said he got abducted and the aliens had sex with him. I don't know if I believe that. Somebody said, is that Mr. Denzel Washington voice? That's what they tell me every day, man, and thank you. Thank you for saying that I sound like Denzel. I definitely appreciate it. And it's funny because no one ever told me I sound like Denzel until I started coming on live, yo. This is the first time that I heard that, but hey, that's a good comparison, man. Denzel Washington is a legend out here in New York. But let's get to going what we're going, and we're going to get this show started. So the fragrance of the week is Tom Ford. Any of you guys into fragrances like me? I get my fragrances from a subscription service. And they give out, it depends on the service that you have. I have the service where they give out 3 a month. And I get 3 premium services, 3 premium fragrances. And I've been rocking Tom Ford, Grey Vetiver. And like I said earlier, Grey Vetiver is one of it's grass, basically. It's basically grass. But they grow it in different parts of the earth, you know, different countries. And it's one of my favorite. And Grey Vetiver is one of those upscale fragrances. It's an upscale fragrances. I tell people like this. Fragrances are like clothing. Fragrances are like clothing. You're gonna have certain times to wear certain fragrances and certain times not to. And Grey Vetiver is one of those fragrances where you should dress up real nice when you wear it. You should most definitely dress up real nice when you wear it. So you wear this in meetings. You wear this on like black tie events, things like that. It's a good fragrance so far. Good fragrance. Again, it's not very strong. It's not gonna make people nauseous if you put a lot on. It sticks pretty close to your skin, and it's a faint fragrance. But, you know, depending on your personality, you may like that and you may not. Yes, sir. Somebody said Curve cologne is always fire for me. Yes, Curve. I remember Curve from back in the day. Curve has been around for a long time. And it's a classic fragrance. I used to work at Macy's back in like 1998, 99. And Curve is one of those classic DNAs. You can never go wrong with it. We got Busy 2472 said, yes, it makes sense. Yes, it does. It does make sense. So, again, the fragrances that you wear can say a lot about your personality. And I feel that it works best when you find the fragrance that fit who you are. If you are a quiet person, don't be out there trying to rock something that's very loud. If you're a loud person, you know, you could probably pull it off, something faint. But again, just keep those in mind and keep in mind where you're going. So if you're in the office, don't be rocking something that's a party fragrance. You feel me? It's like wearing to a fancy steakhouse. They might kick you up out of there, you know? It might kick you up out of there. Somebody said Curve is like a cedar-like fragrance. Yes, sir, cedar. Curve is like a cedar-like fragrances. Yes, you are 100% correct about that. 100% correct. Yep. So now, I'm going to tell y'all about the game I went to, the Long Island Nets. And the Long Island Nets, they are associated with the Brooklyn Nets. When I was growing up, that was the New Jersey Nets, my people. But they play out here at the Nassau Coliseum. And it's cool, man. It was a cool night. I work with some people in Uniondale, which is a village out here in Long Island. Some great, great, great people, man. These are people who sacrifice their time to help the community. So I work with Uniondale Little League. And Little League is something that really connects the community, you know? Like, even the thugs in the neighborhood. We all know, well, I'm not a thug, obviously, but a lot of the thugs that I knew, that I grew up with, we all started off playing baseball together, man. We all started out playing Little League. You know, that's how I know everybody in the neighborhood. Because when we was younger, uh, we would all play Little League. Yo, it's crazy how everybody played baseball. And back in the 90s, baseball in the black community was very big, man, very big. As we got older, plenty of other people started playing basketball. Some started playing football. Others went into the streets and guys started getting in trouble. But baseball definitely connected us. And I work with the Uniondale Little League, so it's official. But they had tickets to the Nets game. And I went over there, man, went over there. And they lost, but it's a cool experience, man. Somebody said gangster. Nah, I ain't no gangster. Far from a gangster. Somebody on the check-in said, blessings, brother. We got somebody else that said, how are you doing today? And I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. My boy Busy said, I dig natural like fragrances from the earth. So do the ladies. He's 100% correct. And speaking back on fragrances before I go into the next thing, fragrances, y'all ever hear oud? Y'all ever hear of oud? Oud is very, very expensive, my people. But in its natural form, oud could be very strong, you know? So a lot of fragrances use oud as the base. And this adds like texture. It adds like substance to the fragrance and it makes it last. So oud could, you know, it's wood, but it could be very, very strong. And it's a fragrance that you definitely have to get used to. Tom Ford has an oud fragrance, you know, I have that one. It's real, real, real good. But yeah, so I went to the game and it was a nice game. The Nets lost, but they did a lot of work to the Nassau Coliseum, my people. A lot of work to the Nassau Coliseum. But it's cool, yo. It's very intimate. The seats it's not like a real big arena. So you get, like, you know, it's like an intimate event. I would love to go to a concert or a boxing event there because you basically feel like you could touch the people. And when you're that close, you get a different feel of the game. And one of the things that I like that was real eye-opening to me is how small the court is, yo. On TV, when you far away from the court, it seems like they got a whole bunch of space. But when you that close, yo, you see it's really not a lot of space on that basketball court to move around. Then when you start looking at guys that's 6'4", 6'10", 7 feet, you see, man, the game is moving real fast. And TV doesn't really show you that, man. It don't really show you how good you have to be in order to make moves, you know? So they start throwing those double teams on you and the court shrinks. The court shrinks size, man. It shrinks real size. So we got some other people on the check-in said, is it like the purplish like bottle? It's called Jupe. Yeah, it's definitely something you got to get to know how to wear. Somebody said Detroit checking in. What up? What up, though? Yeah, Detroit. Oh, my God. My boy checking in from Detroit. I was waiting for somebody from Detroit to check in. And yes, Jupe is like the purplish bottle. Jupe is another fragrance that has been around for a long time. It's a tried and true classic. You can't go wrong with Jupe. You can't go wrong with Curve. You can't go wrong with Jupe either. You know, somebody said Detroit on the check-in. Yes, sir. 76ers, baby. Yes, sir. So speaking of Detroit, I know I love Detroit, and I just couldn't tell you guys why. And I always get a bunch of people who check in from Detroit. But check it, man. You know who my favorite basketball player growing up was? Speaking of the Nets. And he's a straight Detroit legend. And he played in the 76ers because we got somebody else on the 76ers checking in. Yes, sir. Derek Coleman. Y'all remember DC? Derek Coleman? That boy was one of my favorite basketball players growing up. He came up from Syracuse, my people. He went to Syracuse. Rookie of the year. He played for the New Jersey Nets. This was my team. Can you imagine? Y'all remember Drazen Petrovic was a legend. He passed away in a car accident. But when he was playing, the the Nets was supposed to be dangerous, yo. They had Kenny Anderson, who was from Queens out here. Kenny Anderson is a street legend out here. Anybody who grew up in the 90s, y'all know Kenny Anderson, legend. Also with Derek Coleman, who was a beast. I know Judge Mathis is also from Detroit. So Detroit got a bunch of legends, man. Detroit been putting it down for a long, long, long time, and I love the energy of Detroit. I told everybody that my next city after Baltimore that I'm visiting is most definitely going to be Detroit. So he shout out to 76ers legend. Shout out to Eric Snow. Shout out to Dikembe Mutombo. And my boy Mott on the check-in, he said the Nets been trashed since Dr. J left. And you took it way back, bro. Shout out to Dr. J. Shout out to Dr. J. Yes, sir. So guess who was on the team? The Long Island Nets. Guess who's on the team? Y'all ain't gonna believe this one. But another legend from New York, straight from the Bronx, Jamal Mashburn Jr. Y'all remember Jamal Mashburn, the Monster Mash? Jamal Mashburn Jr. He is on the Long Island Nets, yo. And I remember his pops, when his pops used to play. I believe he went to Kentucky. He went to Kentucky, right? Am I wrong? I think he went to Kentucky. And y'all remember that game with Mashburn? I think he fouled out. And my boy, Christian Laettner, hit that Dr. J, Julius Erving, yes, sir. And Christian Laettner, we talking about back in 1993. Christian Laettner hit that crazy shot, the turnaround shot with a few seconds left to win the game. And I always remembered that shot, man. I always remembered that shot because Duke, growing up, Duke has always been my favorite college basketball team, you know. Back in the day, they had Hurley, who, damn, son, Hurley, I think he hurt himself, man. And that's why he never really made it too big. We had Christian Laettner, who really didn't live up to the hype. Everybody thought Christian Laettner was going to be a legend, but he really wasn't. I think Grant Hill probably was the best player, had the best, he had the best career out of that Duke team, you know. But that started me to think about systems, man. Systems. And it's always been Kobe Bryant, straight up from Philly, yes, sir. And that always made me think about systems, man. Made me think about systems. And me, coming from college, I'm a computer science major. So y'all know I think in algorithms. I think in numbers, stats and statistics. And we always get in beef with people who basically have practical knowledge. So in my career, one of my first jobs was basically doing in transportation. So I'm always the type to look at stats. So I'll put something into the computer, looking like Google Maps, and then Google Maps will tell me directions to a place. But I come in and I'm speaking to drivers who've been professional bus drivers for their whole life. So they know how it is. So the computer will tell you that, this route makes sense and that, you should go this way to make it faster. But then the drivers will look at me like, what you talking about, man? This kid was never a driver. This kid don't really know what's going on. We got people on the check-in. Somebody said the best 3-point shooter ever, Ray Allen, hands down. I don't care what no one says. Somebody said Tim Duncan was a beast. Yeah, Duncan definitely was a beast. He said Ray Allen was the best 3-point shooter ever. Ray Allen hurt a lot of my dreams, because I was a Laker fan too. After my boy DC and all of them retired, I became a Laker fan. Kobe has always been somebody that I respected. And that Boston team with Ray Allen, Garnett, and Paul Pierce, they hurt me plenty of times. And Ray Allen was a straight-up sharpshooter. So shout out to Ray Allen. Who else on the check-in? They said, at least we're not hearing his smoke alarm because he's outside. Ha, 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 you funny. Somebody said the best drive-by shooter was Ray Allen. Somebody said, that's a good comment, yo. I like that. I saw somebody who was being very, very, very funny talk about black people and the smoke alarm. They was like on YouTube, 1/3 of the sports, what they say, 1/3 of the smoke alarms account for 50% of some shit they were saying, yo. But it was hilarious. It just made me laugh, yo. It made me laugh, but it was funny. So yeah, so we talk about systems, man. You know what I mean? And what's better, yo? What's better? What do you listen to? Do you listen to the guy who never really did it, but they come in speaking about stats? So, for example, we could look at the shots that Kobe took. We could look at the shots that Jordan took. And a lot of times, those were low percentage shots. And you'll have somebody, a coach or somebody like me, who not as good as Jordan, not as good as Kobe, they'll come out and tell you, yo, that's a low percentage shot that you're taking. Don't take that shot. But how can that person tell Jordan or tell Kobe that they shouldn't take a shot based off of the percentages, based off the percentages? That's a question that me in particular, that I get into situations with people on a regular basis. Because when I'm managing the contract that I manage now, I always look at statistics. I'm gonna tell you, in this area, your on-time performance is this. You're having these type of no-shows in this type of area, and the percentages look like this, and the percentages look like that. And I'm over here talking to dispatchers. I'm over here talking to people who have been in the taxi and limousine service for longer than I've been born. And they're like, yo, who this college kid, who this kid who ain't never been in the industry like that, never been a driver, telling us how to run our dispatching system, telling us how to assign drivers in certain areas. And I get into those debates every single day at work with, guys who really, really know. And just looking at sports in that Nets game, it makes me think about those type of things, because there's always going to be an issue with theory versus a practical knowledge, man. And which one do you guys give more respect to? Do you give respect to some kid that's just fresh out of college telling you about something that you've been doing your whole life? Do you guys look at that? Or, you go by what you feel, or you go by what you feel? These questions don't really have real answers, because I think it's a mixture of all. I think if I was a coach, or I came into a situation with a Kobe or Jordan, I can't tell them what to do. These guys play the game much, much, much better than me. But I can tell them that, okay, Jordan, if you're shooting off your left foot, this is your percentage. Kobe, if you shoot on this side of the court, you have a lower percentage chance of making the shot based off of your history than shooting the shot over here. But this is another conversation for another point. You feel me? I'm over here at 7-Eleven. I'm about to go get my coffee. My train is going to leave at 5. And we're going to read some of the comments before we get up out of here, man. All right? Let's go. Somebody said those new 10-year battery smoke alarms are the one use only, and they cost $50. Ridiculous. You're a funny guy. Funny guy. Somebody said Kobe a top dog. Somebody said different era. My boy Joseph, what is that? Joseph Erickson. We got NBA is 50% entertainment. I do agree on that. 50% sports. I agree on that too. If we go back to, who was that, Portland against the Lakers, it would definitely seem like, it might be rigged. We got somebody said it's not always about points. Correct. It is not always about points. We got somebody else that said that 50% entertainment is the rigged. I definitely agree with that. 50% can most definitely be rigged, especially since we have a whole bunch of gambling now. We got a whole bunch of gambling in the sports, and a lot of this stuff has been coming out. We have a whole bunch of stuff that's been coming out. Somebody said, "What's up, Monica? What's going on?" Somebody said, "Which one came first, the chicken or the egg?" What came first, the chicken or the egg? Here I go on my college stuff. Of course the egg came before the chicken, my brother. Of course the egg came before the chicken. Somebody said chicken, because look at your question. Somebody said the chicken. Somebody said, if you say what came first, the egg or the chicken, I'll say egg. Facts. I say the egg, you know what I mean? Because, dinosaurs had eggs, you understand? And chicken and birds now are dinosaurs, but dinosaurs were around way before birds, you feel me? Somebody said, I solved that S years ago. Somebody said, if it's not broken, don't change it. All right, thanks everybody for checking in. My train is coming up in 5 minutes. I'm about to go into make my coffee. Thank you guys for checking in. Love y'all. Peace out. See y'all tomorrow, man.